Each day, travel with us around the world to learn what professors are researching within their specialties and be the first in the know. Listen as we discover the newest green innovations, research the behavioral patterns of animals, and examine how the arts are being studied today. You'll find it all on the Academic Minute.
Listen every weekday afternoon during the KSJE Evening News at 5:30.
Each week on Celtic Connections, we bring you the finest of traditional and contemporary Celtic music from Ireland, Scotland, England, Wales, and North America. Tunes you can tap your toes to, and songs that will transport you to misty mountains and moors. This is Brian Kelso-Crow inviting you to join me for Celtic Connections.
Listen to Celtic Connections every Saturday afternoon at 1 on KSJE 90.9 FM, Farmington. KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center, your community hospital with a rich heritage that dates back to before New Mexico was a state. We've been improving the health of the Four Corners since 1910. As a nonprofit hospital, San Juan Regional Medical Center is a values-driven organization. We strive to deliver on our mission to personalize health care and create vitality and enthusiasm in healing. We are here for you when you need us, offering a comprehensive range of inpatient, outpatient, and emergency care services. It's 8:36, KSJE, and you're listening to the Scott Michlin Morning Program. Good morning, everybody. Taking a look at the weather forecast. This is not anywhere, I'm afraid, in San Juan County, but this is earlier today in the British Virgin Islands. A pretty nice-looking beach, and you can think about that as we talk about the forecast coming up, which calls for not too chilly weather, but it's not beach weather either. 50 degrees, mostly cloudy skies on this Monday, the high 50 today in Farmington. Overnight 24. Tomorrow, partly cloudy skies with a high of 47. 24 tomorrow night. Windy on Wednesday with a high of 49. Sunshine back again on Thursday and Friday with highs again in the lower 50s. Again, everyone, I'm Scott Michlin. Thanks for tuning in this morning. And my guest today from the city of Aztec, we're very pleased to have in our studios Aztec Mayor Victor Snover, who is here, and also Community Development Director Stephen Saavadra. Again, gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here and joining me. Mayor Snover, I want to ask you a little bit about what brought you to Aztec, New Mexico. I think it's an interesting story because you're originally from the East Coast like me.
Right. And I just wanted to add about that picture on the beach.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to Costa Rica for my oldest daughter's wedding in a couple of weeks, so I will.
Okay.
That will actually be.
You will be enjoying some weather like that. Well, good for you, and enjoy that. And congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
But you're from
I'm from
West
upstate
Virginia?
New York.
Upstate New York, that's right.
And that's we were talking a little bit off the air. It's kind of interesting. You come all the way to New Mexico, and I've got two folks sitting on either side of me that literally know my little town in upstate New York. We have a lot of the same places in common, so it's really come all the way across here to meet people that grew up in your backyard.
Right.
But I did grow up. I was born and raised in upstate New York, just over the Pennsylvania border. I'm sure you both know that folks think New York and they think New York City and Empire State Building and all that. And I try and explain to them that it's really not like that. It's very rural, a lot of dairy farms where I grew up. My high school still has a grass track.
Wow.
So,
right.
They just got lights, not too long ago for football. So,
yeah. Not electricity, but you're talking about lights on the field.
Right.
It's not that small.
Night lights, yeah. To play.
Thank you, Mayor.
Sometimes growing up there, it seemed that way, but yeah. And after high school, I joined the military, which I served for a total of 22 years, and the last 10 years of my career brought me to Charleston, West Virginia. I served up and down the East Coast. I deployed 4 times before I moved to West Virginia as a recruiter, and that's where I met my wife, Camellia, and I ended up spending nearly 20 years there. And once I retired, I started working for a private college about an hour away from Charleston, and it was fine, but it just wasn't really what I thought I was cut out to do post-retirement. And I had talked to a couple of friends. I had gotten certified as a JROTC instructor, and I literally got online and started Googling places out west because I'd always wanted to live out west. My service career never brought me to the West Coast or west of the Mississippi, really. And I just started looking at places, and I saw Aztec, and I saw where it was situated, and the elevation, and the proximity to the mountains, and all the other great things we have in the Four Corners region. And I literally just picked up the phone and started calling people. And Colonel Samples, the other instructor, the retired colonel that I work with, picked up the phone and kind of started giving me the hard sell sort of thing, telling me how great it was here and how much he enjoyed it, and so on and so forth. So I flew out and interviewed and got the job. So
the rest is history, as
The
they
rest
say,
is
I
history.
suppose, right?
Right.
And now you're the mayor.
now I'm the mayor.
See? And how long was that from when you arrived in Aztec to now?
Well,
how long ago was this?
I came to Aztec in 2012, right after the school year started.
Okay.
And so I was kind of circuitous. I ended up in Aztec for a school year. Some things, my wife hadn't moved out yet. We had some issues with a house next door to us burning down and damaging our house, and just some of the timing was off. So I ended up teaching in West Virginia for 2 school years right in Charleston, and then in 2000, the 15-16 school year, I came back for good.
Okay.
So this is my 4th school year in a row. So, yeah.
Gotcha.
And I got involved in politics from there, and now I'm the mayor.
And you're the mayor. Here we are. That's true. Steve Saavadra, you had some also time up in upstate New York. We were talking about that during the break. You went to graduate school there, right?
Correct, yes.
To Cornell.
Correct. I had the good fortune and great opportunity to attend Cornell University, graduate from Cornell. While I was there, met amazing individuals, very bright. Was fortunate enough to live in Ecuador for my time being, doing an apprenticeship, and then also did a research project in South Africa, Durban, South Africa. And one thing that I take back from just looking at upstate New York, South Africa, Ecuador, New Mexico is that we're always facing the same challenges. There's always constraints. There's always issues of the economy, and people are people at the end of the day. And so it doesn't matter if you're across the Atlantic or upstate New York. We're on basically one boat, and we always have the same challenges, and somehow we're always trying to get over those challenges.
Very true. Very true. Well, let me ask you both a little bit about some of the economic impacts on the city of Aztec that the city's facing and others facing too. We were talking about revenue before we came on the air this morning, and the city is dependent, like most, on gross receipts tax revenue. It is the holiday season, so I think all of us would agree to shop local.
Right.
Everybody.
Right. Yes, please.
And because that adds up to a lot for the city of Aztec. It's almost a good portion of your revenue, right, from GRT, gross receipts taxes.
It is a large portion of our revenue, and one of the things, and I want to echo that shopping local kind of thing, because not only does it benefit the city, of course, and our revenue streams, but when you shop local, whether you eat at a local restaurant that's family owned, whether you pick up a cold beverage at the tap room, or if you go to Rubio's and have huevos rancheros, you go to the gallery, that money is directly going to a business owner in Aztec or in the Farmington area. It's directly going to dance lessons, karate lessons, car payments, home improvements right in our backyard. So I cannot, and I've always kind of felt this way, but being, in city government and seeing it even more intimately than I have before, it really, really matters. And to be able to do that makes a bigger impact, even if it's a $5 purchase. It makes a bigger impact than any of us could ever imagine. So I want to encourage folks to, as you're wrapping up your holiday season and you're shopping, think about stopping in that gallery in Farmington or that gallery in Aztec, grabbing a bite at the pizza place that is a local family, and trying to spread your money around the local community.
It really does
helps.
Reinvest when you're at a local mom and pop store, even more than one of those company or corporate stores, I think.
Right. Is
what the studies have shown. And so in Aztec, GRT is above your projections this year, you were telling me?
It is. And Stephen was nice enough to show me, we get our monthly reports. And last month in November, we haven't obviously got the December figures yet, but we're $17,000 above our projections.
Okay.
Now, that's real money. That's real money. And our budget director, our finance director, is fiscally conservative, thankfully. She is always on the lean side as far as projections. So anytime that we exceed projections, it's always, it's great. It's exciting, and it shows that we are heading in the right direction, and that she has been kind of steering the ship very competently and making sure that our financial house is in order. And I think that has shown over the last few years, because even during difficult economic times, while we may not have been able to do some of the projects and some of the big things that we've talked about or been trying to get moving, we're still able to run the city. We're still able to provide services, and we're able to, we're not getting into a position to where, we're in trouble financially.
Right. Which is maybe a little bit different from a few years ago, because I think a lot of communities were wondering how things were going to go. And so, and it's hard to predict, I think, some of these GRT numbers when they come in, because they're so volatile based on a number of different things, that people are moving in or moving out, or
Right.
businesses are moving in or moving out. And so it's really kind of, you just have to look at the numbers, and it is what they are. They are what they are.
Right.
And so they're above where they were, where you're projecting that they would be.
They are above, and that's been trending upward over the last several months. So I'm very encouraged, and I'm hopeful that things will keep going as we continue to try and finish projects and develop new projects to diversify our economy and make us a little bit less dependent on the standard bearers of our economy in the region, and
Sure.
move forward and be able to use some of that surplus that the state has, and use some of the extra GRT that we have to invest it as we move into the future.
Right. Mr. Saavadra was talking a little bit, too, about the two sources of revenue for the city. GRT is one, and utility revenue is the other?
Right. The city owns its own utility. We provide electricity to Aztec, similar to the city of Farmington. There's only a few, actually, in New Mexico, and so that does provide not only the citizens an opportunity to have their electricity from Aztec, and you just call the phone and say, hey, my electricity's out. City, you usually get there pretty fast. In addition, we are able to collect that revenue, which actually can be reinvested back to the city. So when we're talking about adding more utility lines and things of that nature so that we're operating more efficiently, we have that opportunity, as opposed to having P&M running the electricity for us.
Or City of Farmington.
Or City of
I
Farmington.
suppose, too, right? And I guess that's also allowed you to invest a bit in solar and some renewable energy production,
Yes.
too, in the city of Aztec, correct?
Absolutely, which is added to our diversity of utilities within Aztec. And so that was one project that the city was able to accomplish a couple years ago. And so hopefully that trend will continue, because, inevitably solar technology will get better and more efficient. And so I think there's great opportunity for the city of Aztec.
Very good. Just have a few minutes remaining this morning, gentlemen, but I want to ask a bit about maybe the environment and the economy and drought concerns. This summer was a pretty concerning summer for folks. I know everyone is watching the snowpack and the storms as they roll into the mountains this
Right.
time of year and this winter, in hopes that we have a better snowpack for water next summer. But Aztec is somewhat unique in that you really are reliant on the flows in the Animas River for
We absolutely are.
your water supply. And what's your thoughts about that, Mayor? I know there's always plans to maybe have
Right.
more storage and more plans in case of a drought year.
Right, and that's always a concern, and again, that's another one of those things that you know is happening as a private citizen, but you really kind of get to learn a little bit more about it, and kind of it becomes much more of a topic of concern when you're one of the elected officials in the city. But we're in extreme drought conditions, and this region of the country has been for years and years. It's not just something that happened last year, although it feels like it kind of spiked last year in a manner.
Right.
The river flow was lower than I've ever seen it since I've lived in Aztec over the last 5 or 6 years. I was driving up to Durango yesterday, and I was like, oh, look at all that snow. It's so beautiful. I hope it dumps on there and we get more and more. And you realize the importance of it now. It's more important than just having a good day on the slopes. It
That's right.
literally is our lifeblood. It's our livelihood here. And we are always considering things like that. At least speaking for myself, as we do projects, as we look at water use and, the impacts that could have on the citizens of Aztec, and to be good stewards of our water supply, and to always be looking at ways to conserve and to extend the amount, the usefulness we can get out of our very, very precious water supply that comes through town.
Very true. And Mayor, I want to ask you a bit about kind of your thoughts for your tenure as mayor in the city of Aztec. Are there some policies that you've asked the commission to maybe look at, or maybe think about more renewable type things, or other things that you can do as far as conserving water or things like that from a city standpoint that you're looking at?
Well, I can say from as far as conservation and things like that, I feel like we're on the same page as far as the city goes, and I do feel like our city staff, every time I seem to bring something up, they're either already on the same page or they've already considered it and looked at it, and they have things in the works as far as water conservation, as far as doing things with our revenue, our solar field that we have, diversifying our energy portfolio to transition to more renewables, over time. And we're also practical and pragmatic, that we realize that natural gas is going to be here for a long time, and it's one of the lifebloods of our economy, and we're not looking to slam the door on that or to, completely turn away from it. But I do feel like it's environmentally responsible and it's economically responsible for us to start looking for other ways to avoid these boom and bust, up and down roller coaster type of economic situations, not only with our energy but with our economy and our GRT receipts. But I do think that moving forward, I can't say enough about the city staff and some of the research and some of the work that they've done. They make our job very easy. But aside from that, I do feel like there are a few things that we can do. We're looking at, tightening up our zoning regulations. We've looked at, developing our MRA designation, our Main Avenue corridor, and we've talked about the North Main, of course. But I do feel like we need to work harder and harder and continue to work with our partners in the Four Corners region to shine a brighter light on the other natural wonders that we have, to, in a sort, kind of reinvent ourselves while we're diversifying away from our dependence on the oil and gas industry here.
Sounds like a topic for another show, so you have to come back.
Sounds good. I'll be happy to. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Mayor Snover, thanks for being here. Stephen, thank you for being here. Stephen Saavadra, thank you both for coming in. Merry Christmas to both of you. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy holidays to you and everybody that has taken a few minutes to watch and listen today. Thank you.
Very true. Thank you very much. We'll see you again in the new year.
In the new year. Be safe. Thank you.
Very good. My guest from the city of Aztec here on KSJE, and I'll be back with more in just a moment, everybody. The time is 8:52.